Good day everyone, my name is Damario Squire and my project today will examine hearing impaired children in specialist schools in Accra, Ghana. I hope that this presentation will be informative and as we examine the respective concerns, we will also provide the applicable solutions that will help to improve the living conditions of our children. Thank you. So as we begin this study, we will examine our study area, which is Accra, Ghana. And Accra is seen as the capital of the Republic of Ghana and is seen as the most populous city in the country, boasting a population of 2.27 million persons. It is important to note that this area has experienced a rapid population growth, and this has been due to improved living conditions and also job opportunities, primarily focused in urban centers and areas. Our study, however, will be focused on in the rural areas such as Ada West and Ada West, and this was selected based on the demographic and also the socioeconomic conditions affecting this particular area. The program such project title is Hearing Impaired Children between the ages of 13 to 18 years old, especially schools in rural Accra, Ghana. And the reason for this was due to the fact that there was no specialist school to cater to the needs of hearing impaired children in the rural areas. Out of the 14 institutions that offered services for hearing impaired children, they were all situated in urban areas, and they also faced their respective challenges due to overcrowding, a lack of access to human resources, teachers who were adequately trained in the area, and also a lack of technological support in which that would help to alleviate the challenges faced by children with hearing impaired challenges. This also led to a long-term impact in which statistics showed us that less than 1% of hearing impaired children had access to quality education. The long-term impact also outlined and showed us that there were also a lack of integration of hearing impaired children into the wider society, as they were unable to communicate effectively with peers, parents, and also teachers. They were unable to gain the relevant employability skills that were needed for their overall development, and also lacked the job opportunities needed to allow them to function effectively in the society. It was also a cultural factor in which once you were disabled, then it was seen as a sin or outcast by family members and peers because of a spiritual requisite or concern or effect that you were cursed by your peers. So this led to our development objective focus on improving the well-being of 100 hearing impaired children through access to communication and technical resources in rural schools in Accra, Ghana by 2022. So this would really help us to really provide the support needed for these rural schools in allowing them now to provide quality education to children who had hearing impaired challenges. So this would see the rural schools and villages being equipped with technological infrastructure, combating the challenges faced by children in these communities, also allowing teachers to be able to access quality education and training that will allow them now to provide greater support to the needs of children with hearing impairment. Parents will also be able to 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 benefit in this regard, in which they will be able to gain and also access employability skills and mechanisms that will help them to communicate effectively with their children despite the social barriers that were provided or enhanced due to children with hearing impaired challenges. So the long-term such ultimate outcome for the logic framework analysis, which outlines the theory of training for the immediate, intermediate, and ultimate outcomes, were really centered on three domains: training and skills development, communication and technological resources, and public policy. And one of the reasons why we looked at, from this standpoint in providing employment opportunities is that from the short-term outcome to the medium-term outcome will really serve as to increase the access to skills development and entrepreneurial training for children and also parents. That would really help in increasing the communication, increasing the employability skills, increasing the opportunities to meet the labor market demand. Domain 2, which deals with communication and technical resources, we really provide the technological support and also the training to teachers to to really enhance training methods and curriculums that will help to meet the needs of the children. And this will be done to really enhance the capacity of the rural schools to meet the demand of hearing impaired students as a short-term goal and increase communication between students and parents. As we look at from the policy standpoint is that the Disability Act that seeks to help with implementation of the respective um, methods for individuals with disabilities were lacking as they were unable to gain underground support to help with allowing individuals with disabilities to be aware of their needs. So through this, we were able to be increase the knowledge of children and parents about the roles and responsibility of the stakeholders in the Disability Act, and really allow greater accountability and transparency of the respective agencies that have been tasked to provide support to individuals with disabilities. From an input activity and output, with regards to our input, we will really seek to engage the National Association of the Deaf director, the Ghana National Educational Service, the Ministry of Gender and Social Protection, and we will also seek to hire a project officer that will really be responsible for the overall project in ensuring that everything meet the established deadlines and the reporting framework is also implemented in ensuring that these respective areas are covered. Also, sign language specialists, that the primary aim of these specialists now would really to offer assistance to these institutions in ensuring that the educators are trained and to ensure that increased communication is also taking place between these individuals. Also, a community officer, which will be focused on integrating children and also peers into the wider society, ensuring that community spaces are developed through urban planning and design, and also the participation of the local authorities in ensuring that we have environmental friendly areas that would help and also boost interaction and support to these individuals. And funds will be acquired from USAID and UNICEF in supporting the respective activities. And these activities will be developing employability initiative in communities, creating disability spaces I mentioned before, awareness and integration of hearing impaired students into the wider society, as this would really help in building confidence, building self-esteem, and building their educational output and awareness. Train students and teachers in the use of the language and also technical resources, and implement these languages and interpretations into the public facilities. And from a public standpoint, is that developing the implementation plan for the Ghana Disability Act is important in getting the underground support and really providing the necessary support to these individuals. And through this, our output now will really allow us now to meet some performance objective, to meet some deadlines, and to see what can be done to adequately address these concerns and challenges for hearing impaired children, parents, teachers, and also support placed by middle managers and auxiliary and executive staff. So risk associated with the project would be operational risk such as human resource, and these with the lack of interest by teachers to be trained. And in really addressing this risk, there would be essentially focused task in really conducting educational surveys and identifying interested participants in really seeing whether or not they're really interested in this particular area, would really help to be a more focused approach in educators who are really interested, and also ensure that we develop educational incentives that will really encourage participants to be a part of this program and learning and development, and also help with also retention of these individuals. And the outcome it would really affect would be the increase of number of translators and hearing impaired specialists in public schools, and also insufficient training provided for teachers. So we would really ensure that training aligns with the Ghana education curriculum and competencies, and also ensure that the outcome it will really have an impact will be enhanced capacity of specialist schools to meet the demand of hearing impaired students. So if you are lacking in the hearing impaired specialist schools, then it really poses a challenge in this regard in providing quality service to these individuals, and the likelihood of it happening is very low and the impact is very low. Also looking at funding, as you know that additional activities may be really allocated in the budget, and ensure that the funds may not be released in time to support relevant activities. So this will be done by ensuring that all material, human, and financial resources required are factored into the budget, and ensure that funding is requested 2 weeks to facilitate the procurement guidelines, and these likelihood and impact for both of these will be very low. An area of concern for us would also be the disasters of such environment, in which the area is really prone to natural disasters such as hurricanes and flooding. And it would really require greater support of through collaboration with the Ministry of Social Service to ensure that the disaster strategy for the country is really implemented in these communities, and also we delay the project until uh, the area is back to recovery, and ensure that we secure our lives, we secure our resources, and ensure that they are used effectively. So after this, the likelihood of this happening is very high, and the impact would be very high due to the fact that the extent of the damage of the natural disasters may really impact our progress in equipping these institutions and providing adequate training to these individuals. So as mentioned, right, the project really seek to improve the well-being of young impaired children between the ages of 13 to 18 years old. And as we examine from these rural areas is that the respective composition of these communities, the gender ratio would really be 60 to 40, with 60% being male and 40% really being female, right? So the ultimate beneficiaries of the project will be the children, providing greater access to communication, services, and educational opportunities to encourage skills development and integration into the wider society. So this is really important in starting the process in allowing them to, no longer be seen as outcasts, but to really be effective in what they do. Intermediary beneficiaries would include really parents, increasing their ability to reduce the communication gap among children, and teachers will be able to facilitate learning in respective institutions and reduce the teacher to student ratio. Community workers in providing support will also benefit through the development and maintenance of social initiatives and programs. And also legislatures such as Ministry of Education in reviewing the Disability Act and providing really greater support, right, to or really rather to the implementation of the act in society. And the respective stakeholders that will really be involved will include educational officers from the Ghana Education Service, the Ghana Society for the Physically Disabled, Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection in providing assessment and coordination of the respective activities, and also ensure that we strengthen this Ghana Statistical Service to provide demographic and population data, real-time data and information support. So this will really be integral and important in allowing the ultimate beneficiary to be the children, but indirect illnesses and individuals to benefit from these measures that would be effective in really improving the livelihood of these children, but also providing institutional support while addressing the concerns that they face. Alright, so beginning at the local level, we have the community and organization groups, the Ghana Teachers Committee, and the community children social groups. Starting at the community organization group, they will be primarily responsible and giving their directives from the Ghana Federation for the Disability Organizations. And what would happen is that they will really be responsible for the local work and social initiatives, and encouraging and ensuring that children are integrated into the social spaces, and which will really serve to increase communication and also help to provide greater assistance and support to parents. Teachers Committee will also ensure that from the educational setting and the classroom setting, that there's continuous engagement through the learning outcomes, through the competency standards, by also outlining what resources they need from their perspective. The children's support groups now would really be integral in really gaining and really allow an avenue for children to voice their concerns. And through this, they will be able to, to participate directly in the process and to really feel a part of what is being done. So they will participate with each other and communicate with each other, while they would also gain support from parent organizations such as the Ghana Federation for the Disability Organization, the Ghana National Association for the Deaf, and the Ministry of Gender, Child and Social Protection. So these would be the peer organizations that would allow reporting framework, and through the reporting framework, they will also participate in exchanging information and ensuring that the information corresponds and is accurately. All of these members would now meet at the technical working committee, and this meeting, would really be designed to ensure that representatives from the respective agencies, and also project leaders, funders, would have an avenue for really looking at the respective outcomes and see if they are really being achieved, and allow the project coordinators now to really coordinate activities to report of these projects and what needs to be done. The funders, will really play an integral role in this area. And then further reporting will be done with the Ghana Education Service, responsible for the special education on children with disabilities, and we would really allow that the technical working committee would also report to the board of directors in really outlining the findings. And through this, the Ministry of Education will be the parent organization, ensuring that the sustainability strategy is utilized in ensuring that these schools are really provided with greater resources and are equipped to meet the demand, as it is a program that will also engage training and skills development. So we would have to ensure that through this, the Ministry of Education, through the Chief Education Officer, will also provide greater support and greater reporting. And through the Ministry of Education will also consist of both the Board of Directors, and the Board of Directors really provide a strategic direction towards the project, and ensuring that at the end of the day, the sustainability strategy is covered, and institutionalizing these outcomes are done, ensuring that the programs outlast the end of the project. It really providing greater support to children while improving the educational system by engaging stakeholders from the local level, meeting with the project managers, technical committee, and also providing greater support and reporting mechanism framework to the Ministry of Education Board of Directors in ensuring that the respective plans are implemented and ensuring accountability and transparency of these results. As it relates to the performance measurement framework, one of the concerns that we had with regards to the long-term result was to ensure that in order to meet the long-term result, we would have to now look at the respective indicators, such as the number of children satisfaction. So the personal well-being index is really looking at their behavioral change. How has the result really changed in their state, changed their interpretation, changed the appreciation, also the value of children with disabilities and children who face the respective challenges. So at the start of the program, it was clearly observed that 10% of these experience improved well-being. At the end of the program, through the gathering of primary and secondary source data, questionnaires, surveys, statistical data, through collecting every 6 months, would really help the project officer and respective committees to ensure that the well-being of children is being impacted, that we are really leaving a lasting impact in allowing the change in state, and also how these needs are interpreted through providing the requisite resources and support for them to survive. So assistive technology such as tools and hearing aids, smart boards and watches. What is really important is that through this gathering of the data would ensure that educational officers, as they go into schools to do their required inspection of the facilities and also what is going on the ground, then the pupil and technology ratio must be seen, and we must be able to track the progress over that 4-month period in seeing how is the life of that child being changed. What is really done from the start of the program, we see 5% integration and utilization of technologies to the end of the program, which 50% of students will now be able to interpret and to know what exactly is needed in ensuring that we alleviate these gaps that restrict hearing impaired challenges. So from the get-go, education officer will really play an integral role in doing their underground inspection and ensuring that this information is gathered. Another domain that we will look at really increasing number of translators in educational institutions. and allowing that children is now being equipped with the necessary sign language, not just for the institution alone, but to really go into their communities and also see the change being taken place, in which the Ghana Federation for Disability, due to their role, right, as the primary agency responsible to ensure that support is really provided in these areas, will now allow for this data to be taken and interpreted, ensuring that we can adequately track the progress of our students in these educational institutions. A short-term outcome will also increase the access to skills and development. And this would really look at the really student enrollment in technical and vocational training. And looking at the get-go, there was no program in place that would really be focused on engaging them and developing their employability skills. So from this, the project officer would really be responsible gathering the data on the ground and ensuring that children are now being integrated, not just during the phase of the project, but after the project has ended, and really recognizing that from the get-go we had 30% literacy level, but what has now been the educational output through the Ministry of Education and through the access to the respective testing periods, in recognizing how as this change is being shown in the lives of the people, and also increase communication, student satisfaction, parent satisfaction. How is behavior being translated in the parent and child communication and relationship on a daily basis? Are they being shunned? What has now been the cultural shift in this particular area in ensuring that the lives of the children are impacted through conducting the satisfaction surveys, and allow special educators to now have that one-on-one discussion with the respective stakeholders. As it relates to the lessons learned, there should be greater awareness of hearing impaired challenges faced by children. This is important due to the need for increased educational campaigns and awareness provided by the media in really enabling these communities to bridge the culture gap and be aware of the challenges that face hearing impaired children. It is important to note that with a growing population and the wide array of challenges that face our region, it is important to enable each individual with disability to be integrated into the wider society. There should also be improved accountability of agencies to meet the need of hearing impaired challenges. It has been shown that due to a lack of supervision by educational officers, by the respective agencies, this has left respective communities from being paid attention and also their challenges being addressed. This would also include maybe agencies really looking at incentives for low-income households, family, also households, and implementing measures that will help them to meet the basic needs and also increase access to the adequate education that is needed. There's also increased support by legislators and policymakers. As we examine the Disability Act, there was a lack of implementation, a lack of enforcement. So despite the act outlining what should be done and what should be the norm for these respective agencies, this was lacking, as there was no implementation, there was no enforcement of the Disability Act in providing the greater support to individuals with disabilities. Just trying to believe that this is also an important factor that should be considered. There's also a need for improved accuracy of project results due to the lack of data management systems. There should be improved focus placed on information technology systems in these areas, and also improve data management capabilities that will allow for the data gathering, the data analysis, and also the data production, and will provide the information reports to the wider population. So there's also a need for improved accuracy of the respective project results in ensuring that once we seek to address the needs of hearing impaired challenges, it is done in an effective manner. It is done in a way that will provide greater sustainability to the respective agencies, but also to the ultimate beneficiaries, who are the children. There's also a need for increased analysis of risk and program development, increased training of the teachers, increased training of programmers, increased training of data analysis, increased training of the workforce that will enable each individual to play their role, and also recognize that these challenges that affects hearing impaired children, is just a start to addressing these challenges and providing ample solution to the respective group. And in concluding, this project really targets children between age of 13 to 18 years old and really seeks to engage respective frameworks in ensuring that we provide integration of these individuals into the wider society.